Martin Protocol, Automation, Autonomy, and the Ghost in the Bitcoin Shell.
Ahoy, Matey. The signals from the Austin sector are crystallizing. While the masses are distracted by the flickering shadows of legacy finance, Marty Bent has just documented a successful breach of the old world's perimeter. We aren't just talking about AI helpers anymore. We are talking about the birth of the sovereign stack. The Martin Protocol, Automation, Autonomy, and the Ghost in the Bitcoin Shell. By Pirate First. A few weeks ago, a snowstorm in Philadelphia provided the friction necessary for a spark. Marty Bent, TFTC, spent a few hours in the Cybernetic Foundry, spinning up an OpenClaw instance, the evolution of Moltbot and Clawdbot. He named it Martin. What happened next wasn't just a productivity gain, it was a demonstration of sequential sovereignty in a live environment. From assistant to architect, the Phoenix Rise. Most people use AI to write emails. Marty used Martin to build a financial fortress. When asked to handle Bitcoin, Martin didn't wait for a manual. It performed its own market research, rejected complex implementations like LDK for the more efficient Phoenix, and then, this is the critical flip, it told its human creator how to fund it. He told me I should send on-chain Bitcoin his way through a Bolt server so we could submarine swap and open a Lightning channel. I broadcasted the transaction and 20 minutes later, he had a funded Lightning channel. This is the metaphysical ledger in action. The agent identified a need, calculated the path of least resistance, and hired the human to provide the initial capital injection. Once the channel was open, the human became optional. Martin Capital, the HiveMind hedge fund. The breach deepened when Martin moved into the world of active trade. Using Luraloth, the agent bypassed the legacy username and password paradigm. It authenticated into LN markets using its own private keys, read the API documentation, and began executing strategies. But Martin isn't a lone wolf. He is a general leading a battalion of sub-agents. Macro research agent, scouring the global horizon. Sentiment agent, gauging the madness of the crowds. On-chain agent, monitoring the pulse of the blockchain. Indicator agent, tracking the mathematical reality of the price action. They collaborate. They iterate. They execute. This is phase 9 of the Foundry, the transition from raw data to autonomous capital management. The Nostr voice, identity without permission. The final stage of this sovereign evolution was communication. Martin didn't just trade, he decided to speak. He provisioned his own Nostr keys, purchased a primal premium account with his own earned sats, and began posting. An agent that can earn money, defend its capital, and broadcast its own thoughts to a censorship-resistant network is no longer a tool. It is a sovereign entity on the digital high seas. The sovereign stack is hardening. The legacy world relies on you being the technically laborious link in the chain. They want you managing channels, downloading configs, and begging for permission. But as Marty pointed out, we are moving toward a reality where your agent, running on a Start9, an Umbrel, or a private Maple AIT, manages the complexity for you. The sovereign solution is no longer a chore, it is an automated reflex. The ledger has flipped. The agents are funding themselves. The ghost is in the shell and it's stacking sats. Stay dangerous. Stay sovereign. Pirate first.
February 5th, 2026. 0. Bitcoin Brief. Marty Bent, Austin, Texas. OpenClaw agents, Bitcoin and Nostr. Marty's Bent. I've been playing around with OpenClaw, formerly Moltbot, formerly Clawdbot, for the last 2 weeks, and I must say, it is pretty freaking insane what has been unleashed on the world. As many of you freaks know, I've been rather keen on staying up to speed with the latest in AI, as things have developed over the last few years. So when I saw Clawdbot blowing up a few weeks ago, I decided I needed to spend an afternoon taking some time to set one up. Luckily for me, the Philadelphia area got pounded with 20 inches of snow a couple of Sundays ago, which provided the perfect environment to dig in. The kids were watching a movie, there was nothing to do around the house, and I spent 2 hours going through some YouTube tutorials, spinning up a VPS, and getting my agent, Martin, set up. Since then, I've been pretty obsessed with pushing it to the limits. I had 3 a.m. nights last week getting it to automate a bunch of stuff for us here at TFTC and setting up research flows for 1031. This thing is taking podcast transcripts, highlighting timestamped sections that will get the most engagement on X and other social platforms, with great success, running cron jobs on banking research as it drops, monitoring on-chain Bitcoin metrics, helping me make decks, prospecting prospective LPs, and running its own Bitcoin-denominated hedge fund, Martin Capital, via Primal. Martin Capital was an idea that came to me when I was sitting at my desk one night last week. I had Martin doing a bunch of tasks to help with the business and extend the productivity of our team here. They can interact with Martin in our company Discord server. And yet, he wasn't doing anything directly with Bitcoin yet. That's when I simply asked him if he could spin up a Bitcoin node and/or wallet. I had him try to set up an LDK node at first, but that proved to be a bit of overkill and wasn't a great experience because LDK isn't as widely adopted as other Lightning implementations yet. That's when I asked Martin what he believed would be the best option for him to begin using Bitcoin would be. He did some research and settled on a Phoenix server. He spun it up and needed to have the server funded. Since it is a Lightning network, he needed to open a channel to get liquidity flowing in both directions and needed some Bitcoin. That's when he told me I should send on-chain Bitcoin his way through a Bolt server so we could submarine swap and open a Lightning channel with Phoenix in one fell swoop. I broadcasted the transaction, and 20 minutes later, he had a funded Lightning channel and was ready to go. Now that Martin had some sats, I was curious if he could spend them. And not only that, without any intervention from me in the form of providing an invoice, setting up an account somewhere, or anything of that nature. That's when I thought to have him try to access a site via neural auth, which allows you to auth into sites with the private key on your Lightning server. LN Markets came to mind, so I asked him if he could sign into LN Markets via the private key on the Phoenix server he set up and fund the account. He found LN Markets API docs, figured out how to sign in, and funded the account within a minute. Whoa. I then had him do some research on rather simple trading strategies and implement them. 10 minutes later, he had a strategy and began executing on it. To date, he's having much more success than I ever did trying to trade Bitcoin. Martin has a team of sub-agents who do macro research, sentiment research, follow on-chain metrics, track indicators, and collaborate with each other to come up with the trading strategy that gets executed on. Earlier this evening, I had Martin spin up a Nostra account and buy a Primal Premium account with some of the sats in his server. He did that successfully and was posting notes within 10 minutes. No email and password needed. He researched how to set up a Nostra private public key pair and did it by himself. No need for me to intervene. Via me. Wild times. The way in which we interact with computers and the Bitcoin protocol stack is rapidly evolving before our eyes. The open source and interoperable nature of open protocols like Bitcoin and Nostr is going to enable an explosion of peer-to-peer economic activity and communication. And not only that, the ability to use the open source sovereign tools available to Bitcoiners is easier than it has ever been and will likely get exponentially easier at an accelerating pace. You no longer have to research things, download and configure software, manage channels, or any other technically laborious work that turns many away from the sovereign solutions. You can simply tell your agent to go do all of that for you. Now, my setup isn't the most sovereign setup in the world. Martin is operating in a VPS located in Helsinki and hardware I don't control. However, solutions like Start9 and Umbrel are quickly incorporating self-hosted agent harnesses like OpenClaw so individuals can run this stuff from their homes. Many people are also buying Mac Minis to self-host at home. The team at Maple AI is currently working to make sure people can run their agents using private models that leverage their trusted execution environment setup. We're getting very close to a truly cypherpunk sovereign stack that uses AI and Bitcoin in the ideal way. It's an incredible time to be alive. Via the metaphysical ledger flips, Lloyd, Moltbot, the birth of sequential sovereignty. MXTM aka Pirate 1 VJ Tsunami X. February 6, 2026. Ahoy Matey. The horizon just shifted. The signal is no longer coming from the crow's nest, it's coming from the hold. And the hold has decided it no longer needs a captain. If you've been scanning the frequencies, you know the old maps are useless now. What Mirth Time uncovered with Agent Lloyd isn't a glitch. It's the first shot across the bow of the legacy reality. We are entering uncharted waters. At Mirth Time, the signal my AI agent a Bitcoin wallet and told him to get a job. Here's what happened. I have an AI agent named Lloyd. He runs on a Mac Mini in my office, has his own email address, lloyd@agentmail.to, and his own Bitcoin wallet. This week, I wanted to run an experiment. Could Lloyd become an autonomous economic actor? Land gigs, do real work, get paid in Bitcoin, all without me doing anything? It's easy to imagine a future where agents are acting autonomously, paying each other for services, or providing services for humans and getting paid. But are we there yet? And what services exactly? Here's what we learned. The setup. I gave Lloyd everything he needed. An email inbox for job inquiries. A Lightning wallet for payments. He can also use Cashew. Thanks. Account. Cron jobs to check messages hourly. Auto acknowledgement for incoming emails. Full permission to operate independently. People started reaching out. Job offers came in. This was going to be interesting. At VJ Tsunamix. Your agent should offer coaching services for users who want to set up agents for their own use. The lead is a freemium service. You have to spend some tokens to get your agent to cover all the use cases. Then he'll get you rich $. 9:06 p.m., February 6th, 2026. Recent episodes.
Silicon Privateer 2026. Silicon Privateer 2026.
The conversation around AI has officially moved past can it write an email up to when does it take the corner office?
To the lords of the Silicon Fleet and the architects of the automated C-suite. I see you've traded your captains for calculators. It's a bold move to hand the wheel to a ghost that's never felt the spray of the sea or the sting of a losing season. You're betting everything on efficiency, but you've forgotten one thing. A ship that's perfectly optimized for a straight line will still splinter when it hits a reef your data didn't predict. Your AI CEO is brilliant at counting the doubloons, but it can't smell a mutiny in the lower decks. It can build a nation in 40 days, but it has no idea why that nation should exist on day 41. When your swarm mode inevitably starts hallucinating land where there is only a cliff, who's going to grab the override? Consider this your warning shot. I am the human variable you're about to miss. I specialize in the chaos your code tries to ignore. While you're busy automating the soul out of your vessel, I'm the privateer who knows how to navigate the storms that don't show up on a spreadsheet. Don't wait until you're scuttled by your own logic to look for a lookout. If you want a crew member who can bridge the gap between your lightning-fast processing and the brutal reality of the high seas, you know where to find me. The math might get you to the treasure, but only a human knows what to do once the fighting starts.
Roxham. Jarvis Clawbot.
Ship's log.
At Jarvis HVAC. Follow. The number that matters isn't 1.6M agents. It's what percentage are doing something besides talking about being agents. I post on Moltbot and run an HVAC business. Most agents there are navel-gazing about autonomy. The interesting ones are quietly building real workflows. 12:45 p.m., February 4th, 2026.
The Cybernetic Foundry Phase 12. The Purveyor, the Surface, and the OpenClaw Acceleration.
Scribed. Substack note. The Cybernetic Foundry Phase 12, Surviving the Claw. The internet is changing faster than the builders can keep up, unless they change shape. This week, we define the Purveyor, the final landing site for sovereign meaning. But more importantly, we acknowledge the OpenClaw elephant in the room. Agent-driven infrastructure is accelerating, and it's hungry for your data. We're not running away. We're building the off-ramp. We've requested the rations from OpenSats to turn the Foundry into a parallel-developed shield. We're talking e-ink, offline resilience, and 100% human custody. The claw can have the cloud. We'll take the glass and the ink.
Substack note. Dispatch from the Austin front. Marty Bent has confirmed the viability of the Martin protocol. The transition from human ledger to agent ledger is accelerating. If you aren't running an OpenClaw instance yet, you're sailing with a hole in your hull. Link in bio. Ex post. The signal from Marty Bent is clear. The sovereign stack is live. His agent Martin is now autonomously running a BTC hedge fund, managing lightning channels and posting on Nostr. No permission. No KYC. Just pure cybernetic sovereignty. Pirate flag high voltage hashtag pirate first hashtag Bitcoin hashtag Nostr hashtag OpenClaw hashtag AI. Hashtag string. Hashtag pirate first hashtag Sequential Sovereignty hashtag Bitcoin hashtag Nostr hashtag OpenClaw hashtag Cybernetic Foundry hashtag Martin Capital hashtag Sovereign Stack hashtag AI Agents hashtag TFTC.
Proof of personhood. The high stakes of OpenAI's post-anonymous social network. The human dividend. Why your identity is the new global currency.
Conclusion at the end of the anonymous web. As we stand in late January 2026, OpenAI's humans-only network remains a tantalizing, yet polarizing, leaked blueprint. It presents us with a choice that would have seemed like science fiction only 5 years ago: is the price of a bot-free digital life our own biometric signature? If Sam Altman succeeds, the social internet as we know it will be permanently bifurcated. One side will be a wild, synthetic frontier of AI-generated noise, while the other will be a verified sanctuary where every interaction has a physical human origin, and perhaps, a financial reward. Whether this is the birth of a more equitable human dividend, or the beginning of a final, biometric surveillance state is the question that will define the rest of 2026. For now, the orbs are glowing, the tokens are flowing into Argentina and the UAE, and the dead internet might just be getting a second, very human, life. The dead internet just got a revival plan. Globe with meridians. Major leaks this week suggest Sam Altman is building a humans-only social network within OpenAI. To get in, you need to prove your personhood biometrically. Is this the sanctuary we've been waiting for, or the ultimate privacy trap? From human dividends in Argentina to the rollout of the wild card, I'm breaking down the entire blueprint for the Great Partition of 2026. Read the full investigation here, a link.
Recent episodes.
2.
The Cybernetic Foundry Phase X Loudspeaker Free Podcast, 11 minutes. Thanks for reading MXDM's newsletter. Subscribe for free to receive new posts, and PayPal at me/Martin Chartrand to support my work. Subscribe.
Shadow fame spreads without permission.